Hello and welcome to the Midday News. Let's begin with the breaking news where we now know that the old 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes will continue to be legal tenders after the deadline set by the Central Bank of Nigeria. This is because the Supreme Court of Nigeria earlier today restrained the federal government from implementing the February 10th deadline. 3 northern states, Kaduna, Kogi and Zamfara, had in a motion ex-parte filed on the 3rd of February create the apex court to halt the Central Bank of Nigeria Naira redesign policy. A 7-man panel of the Supreme Court, led by Justice John Okoro, in a unanimous ruling, granted an interim injunction restraining the federal government, CBN, commercial banks from implementing the February 10th deadline for the old 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes to stop being legal tender. The court further held that the federal government, CBN, commercial banks must not continue with the deadline pending the determination of the notice in respect of the issue on February the 15th. By this ruling, the old Naira notes continue to be legal tenders in Nigeria.
We invoked the original decision of Supreme Court when there's a dispute between the state government and federal government. It's one of the few occasions where Supreme Court has the original jurisdiction. So we invoked the powers of the Supreme Court to hear this application. The reason for it is that as well-intentioned as this policy of federal government of redesign is working hardship all over the country. As we can all see, banks are being harassed, Nigerians are suffering needlessly, especially the downtrodden. Those in the urban areas, they're having problems, but it's more excruciating at the rural area. So these 3 state governments, Kaduna, Zamfara and Kogi, deem it fit for us to invoke the powers of Supreme Court to intervene. And the Supreme Court has not just the final court, but a court of policy in its considered ruling, saw merits in our application and restrained the federal government and by extension the Central Bank of Nigeria from desisting from going ahead on 10th of February that the supply of the new notes will stop.
The court, in its wisdom, decided that something must be done because of the urgency. But the court has rightly, in its own wisdom, directed that all processes must be there by 15th, that is Wednesday next week, for us to argue our various positions.
Before this latest ruling by the apex